Hello, everyone. My name is Andrii, Crypto Text channel, and today I'm very happy to meet Marc De Mesel. I was asking for interview for several months, and Marc is a known crypto investor and actually very interesting investor. Like I follow his YouTube channel, and well, basically, to summarize, the idea of investment is hodl. So as you said, you don't sell your winners, you hodl it, and you need to sell the losers quickly. That's almost exact quotation. And also Marc is known as entrepreneur in the crypto field, supporter of several Bitcoin Cash projects, ReadCash, NoiseCash, and we'll talk about this in more. And but my first question is, let's speak a little bit about investment. You are very open about them. You always tell like what do you invest in, like Bitcoin Cash is one of the biggest parts. And maybe can you do a summary of what changed like recently, what are you doing in this field now?
Well, currently, actually the positions I take are quite slow, like every half year or so. Thank you also, Crypto Texty, for the interview. That's very cool. It's a long time ago I did one, I think. It takes half a year usually to really find a new investment. Some investments, they last for many years. Others are shorter. But so what are my last moves? 2 months ago, I sold half of my oil tankers. And I also bought some more Bitcoin Cash, but not to stash myself, but to donate and invest in Bitcoin Cash projects, because I cannot invest more in cryptocurrency, because I'm following the Kelly criterion, where I very disciplined allocate capital based on a mathematical, scientifically proven formula on how much can you allocate if you want to optimize your returns. The Kelly criterion is the formula, and I can only invest in something when it's collapsing, because then the risk reward is very good. The potential reward is very high, and there's fear in the market, and it's a good time to buy. And then I use the Kelly criterion to allocate. But then when markets recover and it goes up, usually it makes no rational sense to invest more, because it already goes up a lot. Like for example, with crypto, my last investment was bumping it to 40% or so, or I don't know, bumping it to 50% or so. No, actually, I bumped it to 60%, the Corona crash. That was in March last year. So then I allocated actually 64% of my portfolio to crypto, and it's still 65 today, because it went up a lot. But my other investment was 35%. At the time was Tesla options and Tesla stock and options on Amazon, and that also went up a lot. But things there have changed in my portfolio, but both of them went up the same amount about, and so the allocation is still the same. So I have not invested more in crypto. I cannot bump it up. So yeah, that's how I work.
Great, thanks for sharing. I think like 60% is like a really big amount of portfolio for a professional investor to be like 60% in crypto. Well, we as some crypto enthusiasts have like 60%, have like 100% in crypto. And also in some countries, for example, like in Ukraine, we don't have like really stock market. Well, it exists, but it is like, you know, like in such a bad condition. Like, for example, I have like some stocks from the 90s of some factory, but I never got any dividends. Like they sent the letters by the ordinary mail. I can sell them. Maybe at some point some investor comes and maybe I'll do. So I think foresee that tokenization would be like the future of the stock exchange, and in a way, maybe tokens, they are in a way shares of the crypto projects. And you mentioned that it's good to buy when something is collapsing. And what about crypto projects? Usually when they are collapsing, some of them might not recover at all. What's your view?
Well, it depends what phase of the market you're in. Of course, you don't, when it's collapsing and it's at the start of the bear market, no, that's not a time to buy indeed. Because a bear market in crypto will last 2 to 3 years in the past. And when it starts collapsing, actually it will collapse a lot more. Many projects go down with 95%, some 99% actually, or 98%. There's a tremendous losses. And so the first collapse is only a 50% drawdown. But then to go to 90%, that's losing again 80%. And again, and then going to 99 is losing again 90%. Of course, you have to be very aware where you are in the cycle. And of course, this does not apply. You have to really pick bottoms and pick tops and be very aware where we are likely in the cycle. And for crypto, for example, we breached the all-time high of 800 billion 2-3 years ago, was at the highest set, and then we had a bear market. We breached this, but it took 2 years to breach it from the bottom. The bottom was already at the end of 2018 in December, and we're now in 2021. So we've been building this bull market already for 2 years and almost a half. And it took actually 2 years. It was in January this year that we breached the all-time high of 800 billion. And what you see is that in the past, once you breach the all-time high, it starts to go very fast, and it takes only half a year to 1 year maximum before you reach the top. So right now, it's likely that this year, 2021, we will reach the top of this bull market. I did some other calculations. Yeah?
It's interesting to ask, and probably the viewers are interested in this at all. What's your approximate suggestion till when the bull market would be? What is the top? So like kind of end of this year?
No, I think it's going to be much earlier because it goes parabolic. And from the Trollo chart that I share from time to time, we will likely go to about 800% valuation versus the trend line this cycle. And we're already at 300% or so. So I think it will be already in half year max. So not at the end of the year, but in the middle of the year, or a little bit after the middle of the year, in maybe August, September. That's my best estimate. But of course, this is just probabilities extrapolating past trends. But I mean, I think it will be earlier. We went from 1 trillion to 2 trillion in 3 months. We will likely go from 2 trillion to 3 trillions, not in 3 months, but maybe in 1 month or 2 months, and it goes parabolic. The last gains are made the quickest. And so you always underestimate how fast it goes up at the end. And it always goes up much higher than you expect. And so that's the phase that's coming now. And I estimate we will get a peak of around 7 trillion. We're at 2 trillion already. It's not that far off.
Yeah, it's also interesting to ask. You already said that your biggest part of crypto portfolio is Bitcoin Cash, and you also have Ethereum. And what other crypto? Some other crypto projects, or maybe do you invest at the and I think you said it like not once, that it's good to invest at the early stage into the good teams. So some new crypto projects which emerge, they kind of do some pre-sale and some early stage seed investment. Do you check these opportunities?
No, and I have really failed in this crypto cycle, in this crypto bull market, to invest in small projects. I haven't done it. And it's a failure on my part because much money has been made there, and I've been lazy. And of course, I invest with much more money these days than in the past. So you start to invest differently. Also, you look more at the big picture, and and for me, priorities are very different. I really need to protect my capital a lot more these days than like in the past. So I look at, like, I really want uncorrelated investments to crypto. That's very important for me. And that has taken really my time and my energy over the past 2 years. And so I've not invested any energy into optimizing my crypto portfolio and investing in smaller projects. And so I have no value to offer there. People have given me much advice, like you should invest in DeFi projects. And actually I looked into it two months ago. And I asked someone to look into it for me and give his opinion. And I looked in it a little bit myself, and I looked at Uniswap, for example. And I agree, I understand, like, yeah, DeFi will pump a lot, likely. That's the new game in town. But I couldn't see, like, it already went up so much, and I wasn't like convinced that, wow, that's a great opportunity for me. But of course, 2 months later, it does the 10x again, and it's now in the top 10. So I was wrong not to invest. I should have invested, but because I'm busy so little with it, I don't see the opportunity. The gains that were made already scare me. But I have to also say, like, I find a lot of these projects don't have strong fundamentals. For example, Uniswap is totally built on Ethereum, if I understand correctly. And Ethereum is not doing well. Like, the transaction fees are exploding. Like, it's like building a house on a foundation that's showing rot. Like, that's not smart, because you need a good foundation to build a building on. And Ethereum is failing to scale in a timely manner. Transaction fees are exploding, and so DeFi on Ethereum is not practically possible. And so these projects are pumped into the billions. Like Uniswap is worth, I don't know what, 30 billion or so now. But even when I looked at it, when it was worth 3 billion, I thought, for me, that was not an attractive investment. But of course, I was wrong price-wise. And that's the case about many projects. I said the same about Cardano, that I didn't believe in it, or about EOS. And at the time, I said and I was wrong, and they pumped a lot. At the time, I said the same about IOTA. In the previous bull cycle, I was very wrong. It pumped a lot. And I've missed many. And actually, I even said the same about Ethereum when it did its ICO. Actually, I made the strategic mistake to invest in NXT at the time instead of Ethereum. Like, I've missed so many opportunities. I could have been a lot richer today if I would have been much more generous and taken on much more risk during crypto bull cycles. So I'm not
more diversification, yes. So to invest in some like bigger amount of crypto projects.
Yes. So that's the case. On the other hand, my average return is about 50% per year since 2008. Those are tremendous returns that I still am able to achieve despite not taking that much risk. And so I am a top investor if you look at my returns. But compared to many crypto investors, actually my returns are low. But you also have to look at the total lifespan of an investor. Like, there are so many crypto investors that have tremendous returns during a bull market, but almost lose it all during a bear market. And that's why you have to look at compound annual growth rate. That's why I always look at that number, like, what's your average return per year since you started? Because that will also include your very bad years. And it's the end result is what's count. Because if you succeed in having 50% per year, it doesn't matter. You can start with €1,000 or dollar or $10,000. You will become very rich if you're able to continue that. But the reality is that many crypto investors they do make lots of money during a crypto bull market, but after that they lose it all, and they actually don't become a professional investor over time. They don't learn the valuable lessons they could learn. And they end up doing other things in their life than becoming a rich investor. So I have to look at that also.
And your approach is that you work only with your capital, your funds, or do you do sometimes people come to you and say, like, "Oh, Mark, you're a great investor. Can you do something like with my money?" Or maybe did like as a create some fund and run it as a
no, I've invested my money. I was lucky to inherit some money when I was young, and I've always invested with that. But that's an opportunity because I was lucky to inherit some money. But if I wouldn't have, my life path would have been different. And if I really want to invest, I would also have looked much more into attracting capital from other people because like there's so many people that have money to invest and that don't know anything about it and fail, and they are happy to give their money to you, and you're able to charge performance fees that really can make a big difference in your personal wealth. It's a very good way to start as an investor, is to help other people to invest and charge decently for it also.
But in a way, you're helping. In a way, you're helping. In a way, you're helping people for free, just doing your videos, your publications on Twitter, and probably it seems for me that you decided to work with only with your own funds because it's like gives more freedom. So there is like nobody you need to report to. You don't need to be like accountable. Probably that's the reason. Yes.
Yes, it is over time. If you're a successful investor, it's not worth doing that anymore. Helping other people, because most people, the problem is they are bad at investing.
Sorry, it seems we are losing connection. Yeah, now it's fine. Yes. So
when it starts crashing, they also don't want to sell, and then after it's been crashing for a year or 2 years, then and it's minus 99%, then they want to sell it all, and there's no reason they will listen to that you say no, that's a bad idea. Like now it's really not the time to sell. Fuck it, they sell it all, and so it's very hard to keep a fund successful, because most people are truly stupid and remain stupid. And so it's very frustrating as a fund manager. You need to actually look for smart capital also as a fund manager. You will start with stupid capital, but in the end, you do have to find smart capital that is like understands these fundamentals of investing. And of course, the problem is legislation. Like running a fund, there's so many laws and regulations that you have to understand, and it can put you into trouble, and every country has different regulations, and just running you end up discovering that you should actually run a hedge fund. Then you will fall out of most regulations, but that also means you can only attract investors that are rich and that have lots of capital to invest. They need to invest minimum, let's say, 200,000 euros or so, and you cannot make any publicity anywhere. That's usually like if you want to fall within the lines, what you need to do, and that's running a very professional fund. It's not easy. It's a lifetime focus to do all that successfully. And of course, but that's worth it if you don't have money. But if you have money already, it's not worth it, because instead of putting all your energy to that, you can focus on investing it yourself. And it's a very big difference. Like running a successful hedge fund is it's about returns, but it's also very much about attracting capital and about marketing and about being smart about that. And that's very different than being a successful investor. And it's two different qualities you need to develop. And so what you see is that actually, if you really become a good investor, even if you have started a hedge fund, you will actually close your fund for new capital, because you can't deploy all that capital, that new capital, and your energy goes like it's just a challenge to invest all that money into the markets profitably, and you don't want to give it away. If you really become a good investor, why would you give like even if you get 20% of the returns, it's just not worth it. That's what you see with professional hedge funds that they basically end up closing and just invest their own capital. So you can as well skip the whole process if you have some money yourself. But the world has changed a lot with crypto. Like crypto has allowed small investors with very little money to become rich on their own. That was not possible in the past with the stock market. And so I don't think it's worth it. What you should do is as a crypto, just really focus on the small projects and take high risk, go all in, and jump from one success into another, or hold at least one that will do 100x minimum, and that's how you can make from $1,000 or $10,000, you can make $100 or $1 million in like the course of only 2 years, 3 years in crypto. That's what I've seen several people do. And if you're then smart about the bull bear cycle and you don't hodl it all at the top and lose again 95%, but you lock in also profits around the top, then you can do the next cycle the same, but start from much higher. I think that's the way to go for most crypto investors.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing like your idea. Interesting to ask, like, do you invest and do you consider investing in like proof of stake coins, such as like Cardano, Algorand, Zilliqa, where like you can also, apart from the expected rise in price, you can have like some stable income from staking. What's your view on this?
Yeah, I've invested a lot in NXT at the time. That was the first 100% proof of stake coin. So I think it's a great invention. Proof of stake, it is superior to proof of work in many ways. But for me, I just got attracted to Bitcoin Cash to invest in, and even though it's not proof of stake, I think that's not the most important part of a cryptocurrency. It's like how do you secure your building? It has to, of course, keep standing, but it's not that important how exactly that was achieved, or how exactly you achieve burglars to stay out. Or what's much more important for the success of a building is how does it look, how does it function, how is it marketed. Like that will decide its success much more than how it's actually built, if you dig into the architecture or the engineering. So yes, I believe there is, of course, it's a great invention and it makes lots of sense. But I think the success of a cryptocurrency will depend much more on other factors than that. Basically, you need to get adoption. And the users don't care about whether it's proof of stake or proof of work. They care about how useful is that currency? What can I do with it? How much profits can I make with it? That's what's happened. That's what's important.
Yeah, and basically that's kind of a skin in the game approach. So, for example, if you're using one particular currency, if you are very active in that community, that's of course reasonable to hold at least part of the investments there, because like otherwise it means that you don't believe it and it's in its success. And you are very known in the Bitcoin Cash community. You actually supported two, I think, these projects. They are coming like not only for the Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash community, but for the general crypto audience, and even beyond, projects like Read.Cash and NoiseCash, because they are affordable for everyone. I'm actually an active user of both projects. On ReadCash, once you upvoted my article with $100, thanks for that. And I just checked, like I have almost 50 referrals on ReadCash, and part of them, they are not active, but some of them, they are actually writing and earning money. And I have like every day, I have like some cash. It's usually few bucks or even few cents, but it's really something which is going on. And firstly, I would like to share one DeFi idea in relation to this project, because for me, I agree with your critical point on DeFi, and for me, it was like DeFi, I understand it, and that's people with good money can make even bigger money. That's how it works. You can stake tokens, stake coins, loan. But if it's like somebody new with, like, let's imagine no money or like no tokens, no crypto usage, they can't actually loan somewhere because they don't have like USDT which you need to lock. And I was thinking that DeFi is not really helping the mass adoption. It's helpful for some people with experience. And here it comes to the point of collateral. If it's somebody new, what can they offer as a collateral? And actually, ReadCash can offer the collateral, because in this case, you, the person, your blog, can become your collateral. Let's imagine if the person earns, let's say, maybe $100 per month, and it is sustainable. We can see it already during the year, and there are like some affiliate income, some tips. So probably by locking the profile and future profits, he or she can, I don't know, maybe loan $500 and get it instantly from the fund, because the fund you invested so much into ReadCash fund, there were like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think the last time I saw it when it was on the site, it was something closer to the million of dollars in Bitcoin Cash. So just sharing like this idea, what do you think about it?
Yeah, a good idea. It's a good idea. I agree with you. But Read.Cash earnings and Noise.Cash earnings are still coming. A big part still comes from the fund. Of course, to borrow against that, like it's like being a company where most of your income comes from one customer. That's not a good foundation for a company, because the customer falls away, you have no income. And that's still the case also with Read.Cash. You have there the random rewarder that tips many articles, but that's actually coming from the fund. And when I browsed through it, I noticed that most of the earnings from Read.Cash writers comes from the random reward.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and so that means that if you would ask someone like, "Hey, we want to borrow again, do you want to lend against my earnings I made in the past?" And then if he's smart, he will look at, yeah, but how certain is that you will make that money in the future if it's coming from one person, basically? That is not so certain. So I think it's a good idea, but what it should it should grow first more. Like a company that has only one customer should find more customers first before it has a strong business, and before somebody will also be willing to lend money to that company without high risk. So that would be my response to that.
Yeah, that's interesting about ReadCash. So interesting to speak more, because it's actually I'm present on all crypto blogs which exist, and also this interview, it will be shared like on all crypto blogs, around like 10 of them. And almost all I've been it's actually one of my first sites where I started to earn crypto was Steemit at that time, and now Steemit is almost dead. Maybe you know that story, and now the real Steemit is Hive, and there are also projects like Leo Finance built on top of Hive. And each of crypto blocks has its own specific. And ReadCash is really one of my favorite one. And what I think is important this is like the community. So there are like people. Of course, my articles there are not so noticeable, but it can come, and it gives the opportunity for all writers, all the authors, to bring their audience there. Because that's what I'm saying to people. Okay, you don't expect that you will post some photos, some publications about your life, and you will earn a lot of Bitcoin. Maybe you will earn just a small fee from a random uploader, and that's it. But centralized block platforms, they don't pay you at all. They monetize your data, and they sometimes ban you. That's why thanks a lot for supporting ReadCash. And what is it now, this situation with the fund, because it kind of disappeared from the site, and so basically the pledge is all yours. So is it more investment for you or like charity? Because for me it seems that this is like really charity, and you explained in one of the videos it gives more usage for Bitcoin Cash and more transactions, more people, and on the long term it also brings your investment higher in price. But is it
yeah, it's not charity. It's really my self-interest. I'm protecting. I invest a lot in Bitcoin Cash. I have lots of Bitcoin Cash, and it needs to go up in value. And how it will go up in value, the only way is if it succeeds in getting adopted by many more people, and people that also value Bitcoin Cash and want to stash it and save it themselves. That's why the value will go up. And so how do you achieve that? That's the challenge every cryptocurrency has. But I believe that you don't achieve that, for example, by doing giveaways. Giveaways, the problem is it's just people, when you give them something for free, what will they do with it? If you give them, if they are not even, the problem is it's easily hackable. Like, yeah, it's if you want to market a perfume, it's wise to give a small sample of perfume in the store where people are shopping for perfume, and then you give them a small sample, they can try it. Yeah, that's a free giveaway. Yeah, that can work. But in the world of internet and digital, the digital world, it's so easy to fake many user accounts and get thousands of free samples. And that way, what is your return? Well, that's not possible in a physical store that somebody gets thousands free samples, but you can be sure that someone will try it, even in a physical store. Some people will try to get much free samples just to use it, and they will never buy a single bottle. So even in the physical world, you have many people that exploit such marketing schemes. But in digital world, it's like 1,000 times worse because there's no face, there's no physical presence, and so giveaways have failed. Many cryptos have tried giveaways. I invested, for example, in Obyte at the time. They also did lots of giveaways. There was a Aurora coin that did giveaways to the whole Iceland, country of Iceland. But all these schemes have failed because it's get exploited and dumped on the market, and you don't have real adoption. And so the value of the coin goes down due to it because it's a failed marketing scheme. And so how can you get cryptocurrency in the hands of the people to try it? It's very difficult. And so I think that when I discovered Read.Cash, it was already up and running for half a year, and it was just tipping each other. And I thought, yeah, that's great. Like, here I can tip people that actually create value. So it's not a giveaway, it's a reward. I'm rewarding people for their work. And that's, of course, working. Like a currency, that's how a currency gets adopted. Is because when people create value and they get paid, even if it's a tip, a voluntary tip, they do receive it as, like, it's not a freebie that they receive. No, they actually put work in it. And so they value what they got on average. They're not going to just dump it in the market and spend it. because they actually had to work for it. And so that's why I started tipping a lot on Read.Cash, because that's the right way to spread a new currency, is to start to pay people with it. And of course, that's the philosophy of Bitcoin Cash that Roger Ver, for example, has done also with BTC at the time, and continue to do later with BCH, is to pay people with that currency. And so in his company, for example, he pays everybody with Bitcoin, before BTC, now BCH, because that's the way to get it adopted, is to pay people with it. And possibly pay them more, like give them the option, like, okay, if you want fiat, I'll give you the normal price that we agreed. If you're willing to accept Bitcoin, I'll give you 5% more. And that's a profitable transaction, because I'm invested in Bitcoin, so it will go up in value, and I make a profit. Even though I pay people more, I still make a profit on it. So Read.Cash is a genius invention, but most of all, like, the problem is it needs to be user friendly, and that's what I miss in most of these blogging websites. Like, you need to sign up, and the sign up process is cumbersome, and the interface is not very clear, and so you need to actually put some study into the platform to understand how it all works. And for me, that's not good. Like, that will not reach mass adoption. It's very difficult to reach mass adoption because it requires so much work to simplify a product or service to the level that the common man that's stupid understands it and can use it. And that's a very, very hard nut to crack. And when I saw Read.Cash, I saw, wow, this guy, he knows how to build a simple interface that works, that people understand immediately. The way you could tip there was immediately, like, you sign up just by an email and it's done. There was not even a confirmation. You didn't even have to go to your email box to validate your email. No, you just like fill in the name, password, bang, you started. And and putting some Bitcoin Cash in the account worked perfectly. You just, like, with my Bitcoin.com wallet, I could just send some Bitcoin Cash. It immediately appeared. And when I want to tip someone, I just click on the bottom of the article. I can choose how much. One click, boom, and it's there. It just worked very well, and it was visually very attractive. So I started using it a lot, and then later the founder Simon, because I was tipping the most on the platform, proposed to do a fund, and I didn't like that. Like, the idea was like the fund will tip people, so not me, but the fund will do it automatically. And I thought, like, no, I don't want this to turn into a giveaway. But he was explaining, actually, it's an algorithm that will study who is creating quality, and it's basically automatic fund tipping, but with an algorithm. And I started to see, like, actually that makes sense, because for me it's lots of work to check these articles, and actually I'm missing 95% or 99% of the users. I'm not even seeing their articles. So actually, it makes sense to automate this with algorithms. So that's how I got attracted to also sponsor the fund, and I did that, and it was open for half a year or so, that others could also tip to that fund, but few did. So okay, he closed the fund again, and he has more than enough money in the fund to last many years, and so that keeps on going. And of course, it's Bitcoin Cash that's in the fund. So if it goes up in value, then the fund has a lot more to spend also, which has been happening also. But this is not actually. Well, you could say it's a mixture of giving but also self-interest. The same like you build a road in town. If there's no government, then somebody needs to do it. It's in the benefit of many people that can use as roads, but the one that builds it, if that's the rich guy in town, if he builds the road, actually there's lots of self-interest into it also, because he can use it himself, and he will get lots of praise from many people. Oh, thank you for the road, and he gets lots of positive points, positive reputation in the community that will bring back a lot of value also. Like people will, if they have Yeah, go ahead.
This reminded me a story that a few years ago, before the elections in Ukraine, like one guy who was running for the member of parliament, he built a road and then he wasn't elected. So he came and destroyed the road.
Serious?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God.
Because he built it like in the particular region where he was running. But yeah, such things, they rarely happen in fact.
That's crazy. It's interesting. Yeah.
And about Read.Cash, like, do you like personally read a lot the articles?
Yes, well, I do go there, yeah, but I think because it's growing, yeah, there's many articles, the percentage I'm able to read is very low. But of course, I skim on based on the titles, and it's only when the title is interesting that I look into it, and then if the article is interesting. But sometimes I read article. Often I skim an article and I go straight to the bottom to look at the conclusion of the article. Often articles are also like short. There's also a lot of basically indirect begging, people liking to please me because they know I'm a big tipper, and trying to stroke my ego. That's of course I have an ego, and it may work sometimes, but
for example, they can see a pattern that you upvoted many articles which explains like why Bitcoin Cash is great, or why Bitcoin Cash is better than Bitcoin, why it's better than other currencies. So they can see the pattern. Okay, if I write something like this, I explain the reasons. Of course, it shouldn't be like repeating. So there is like really high probability that if you notice it, and to notice, they can tag you in Twitter, they can comment to you in Noise.Cash. There is a much bigger probability that you will upload that particular article.
That's true, but I mean, I'm looking for authenticity. Most importantly, if you look at the top tipped articles that I did, that received $10,000, like 3 or 4 articles like that, and then there are some that receive $5,000. It's from people that are authentic, that are active on other platforms, spreading Bitcoin Cash. I have written many other articles. Like I do study people's profiles and histories and reputation and their other work before I will do a tip so big, because yeah, I mean, it's an investment also. And many people try to trick the system and try to trick me. And for example, spamming me on Twitter, hey, and on Telegram, hey, can you read this? Can you read that? I'm not even looking at that because it's annoying for me. Like I can't use my social media, my Telegram, because you're all spamming me. So if you do that, like I'm not gonna click it. You're just wasting your time. I'm just looking like all users at Read.Cash, the homepage, and looking at the titles. And if something interests me, I dig into it. I rarely click on Reddit. They're also spamming lots of articles. Hey, can you read this on Read.Cash? But I'm also not looking into that, except when there's already on Reddit comments about the article. When they are able to get traction on Reddit, then maybe I will click it also. So there's a lot of spamming going on that I certainly don't reward.
Yeah, let's come to the Noise.Cash, the new, like relatively new service connected to Read.Cash, and I like to call it a crypto Twitter. And sometimes, like this interview, I didn't announce it on Twitter. Like it's running now, streaming on Twitter, but I announced it on the Noise.Cash. And I have like only like 50 followers there, so like really few tips. But in one of the videos, I think in the beginning of the year, you mentioned that it's spending like Noise.Cash $1,000 a day, maybe now even more. So giving tips, and the system, I'm speaking it to the people who might not know this site, that every day the tips are generated for you. I don't know exactly the algorithm. Some day I get like maybe 10 cents, some day only 2 cents, and I can send the tips like to others. So the tips are generated from that fund. And is it like the same fund which is running now for both Read.Cash or NoiseCash? So where's the money coming from?
Yeah, it's the same, but a lot more money is spent on Noise.Cash than Read.Cash. Per day, I think Read.Cash is $1,000 and Noise.Cash is $4,000 spent per day. But this is totally the decision of Simon, the founder, but he has upped it to these levels, and he can up it more, especially if Bitcoin Cash would go up in value. It will be possible. But there's also a big difference in in Noise.Cash. There's Read.Cash. They do the reviewing of authors is done much better and manually. So you can't. It's much harder to spam the system in Read.Cash and start to earn tips from the fund, from the random rewarder. It's only when you prove to be a valuable author that writes real content. But on Noise.Cash, it's with an algorithm, and so it's easier to trick it. And so you see a lot more, but it's also micro tips. It's a different approach. Also, like even if the algorithm is wrong in tipping spammers and low value content, they only get micro tips, and so it's okay to be more wrong there, and it allows for faster growth also, because manually reviewing is lots of work and costs lots of money. You need to hire lots of people for that. So using algorithms is the right way forward, but of course it has also, like, it's not profitable for Bitcoin Cash for me to give money to people that don't create value, because they actually will also just dump the Bitcoin Cash and basically drain value away from the system. And so that's why I actually really liked that the Noise.Cash team made some changes just a couple of days ago in who they will tip with the fund. And they basically eliminated a lot of users that create low value content or just outright spam. And as a consequence, the fund expense per day is still the same. So people that post quality content making a lot more now. Actually, I was surprised to see, but yesterday I just announced a live show. I got $40 in tips there. That's from, I don't know how come that is, and it's more than 50 tippers that tip me. But before, I would only get like $1, maybe $2. So it's like it went up a lot. Is it maybe because one person tipped me a lot? I don't know. But of course, like by limiting, by cutting out lots of low value content, the free tips now go to less people, but they do earn all more. And I think that was a good, very good move of Noise.Cash. But the challenge of these platforms is to become, well, no, I think it's going very, very well. And I hope that many investors, especially bigger ones, also start donating to those funds, because that's been lacking. Simon has tried to raise more funds from Bitcoin Cash investors, big ones, but failed to raise funds for the fund. But I do think this is one of the most efficient ways to basically spread Bitcoin Cash adoption, because it's very, very difficult to get it into hands of value creators, but Read.Cash is really succeeding in that, and Noise.Cash also. So it's a really good investment for a Bitcoin Cash investor, especially if you have a big stash. If you're rich, then it's really worth it, because you can't do this yourself. You need a smart guy that builds platforms where you can filter out people that create valuable work, and Simon with Read.Cash and Noise.Cash has proven to do so. So I hope during this bull market, Bitcoin Cash will likely pump a lot, and that many of the people that become wealthy with Bitcoin Cash decide to donate a piece to platforms like this, and there are many other opportunities also to donate to really boost the adoption of Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm an active user of both websites, and I'm recommending it. And I have like two last questions. First, NFT as investment, non-fungible tokens, because it seems that it's like really a trend now, and a lot of people are crazy. They start like producing NFTs, checking the opportunities, buying, selling. And the second question is, you have interesting philosophy of about women as an investment. So these two topics for this interview. Like firstly about NFT, do you have is it on your radar as an investor?
No. So I've totally ignored this trend, and I don't have any valuable things to say on it. I don't know what's going on in the space, NFT space. So I really can't comment on it.
Yeah, and let's finish this interview with some thoughts about women as an investment. Yeah, on your channel, you say that you like women, you like cars, you maybe the typical person from non-crypto, as he imagined, like crypto entrepreneur. Is it you are the typical model for this? You like Lambos, you are driving a lot of Lambos, and let's speak a little about this.
Yeah, I do like. I bought a Lamborghini when I had after my first success in cryptocurrency. I invested in Bitcoin in 2012 for 10% of my portfolio when it was only like $10 a coin, and that in 2013 we had another bubble in crypto world, and so it was the first time I made money because I was investing for many years. I wasn't full, but as I changed my investment strategy and realized I had to take more risks, and I was early with Bitcoin, like I made money, and then I bought a Lamborghini in 2015, and I loved that because I'm from Europe, Western Europe. There's a lot of socialism going on there, and a lot of looking down on rich people and on for example tools from rich people. There's lots of jealousy. And actually, I really don't agree with that. I was very, very proud that I could afford a car like that and drive a car like that. It was just lots of fun to drive a car like that. And I had it for many years. It was lots of fun. I also used it on my YouTube to make videos about it and post pictures about it on my Instagram and on my Twitter. So yeah. And then the same with pretty girls. I like pretty girls very much, but I couldn't afford it also as I was struggling financially. After my 20s, like in my 20s, I quit my studies, and I had lots of pressure from my family to find a job and to get a degree, but I didn't want to do that. And instead, I just wanted to become a successful entrepreneur, but I didn't have the confidence. And so many of the projects I started, I failed at, and I stopped where I should have pushed through, but I didn't. And so basically I was failing during my 20s. And once I turned 30, I realized, what the hell? I am 30 now, and I have not realized my dreams at all. And I'm living back with my father. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a successful company. And what's going on here? And I realized, I have low confidence, and I should really change the way I accept people to treat me and the way I treat other people, and I should start building myself and break away from the family, because I had turned 30, but actually I was still trying to please my father. And that's why I was being kept down, because there was no pleasing him. The only way to please him was to be a loser, because that was his opinion of me, that I was a loser, and that's what he wanted to see from me, that he was better than me. And so I had to face that, and really let go of people. And actually, I had surrounded myself with friends that did the same, friends that actually looked down upon me, and I was making a joke of myself often also. Instead of standing up for myself, I would laugh with myself. It was a way I had learned to deal with life, And so yeah, a lot of changes need to be made, and that's how I became independent. I did lots of therapy also, and took a step back from the family and many friends, and started to focus on investing. But it took, yeah, I was 30 then. It took another 6-7 years before I finally was successful with investing by the age of 37, and then I finally had made money because I inherited money much earlier, when I was 25 or so. But I was not a good investor also because I saw opportunities, but I didn't go for it, and I didn't invest big. Sorry.
Basically, you started investing since 25, yes?
When I was 25 years old, but like, for example, I saw the financial crisis coming, and so I was telling to my family in 2005 and 2006, like, there's going to be a big financial crisis and banks will go broke and gold will go up a lot, and everybody was laughing with me, but I was right. But I made many mistakes, and I lost money when the financial crisis hit. I lost 10%, but it was a lot better than most investors in 2008 that lost like half of their money and many went broke. And so I had foreseen it, and that gave me confidence because I tried many other projects, but here the first time I was successful. But I was not that successful. I still lost money, but I was much more successful than the other investors. And I was visionary and I was proven right. And so I started to realize, like, this is what I should do. I should focus on investing because I'm good at this. And that's how I started to build my confidence that I'm good at something, and started to choose a profession and really dig into it and challenge the ideas I had and improve my ideas. And in the beginning, I was promoting a lot of risk-averse strategies, but later that changed when I realized, like, if you want returns, you really do need to take risk also, but calculated risks. And so that's how I then achieved to make money. And then I bought that Lambo, but I was already like 37 then. And actually during my 20s and 30s, I was not successful. I had low confidence. Even though I had some money from an inheritance, I was not making money. So I was not spending money also. And so the kind of girlfriends that I would get was every couple of years I would have a short relationship with a girlfriend that's not that attractive, that is difficult, and that's why I basically was out of the market, because I was failing also to attract women. I was also not spending the time to look good on myself because I was fully busy with learning online about investing, playing computer games, and smoking marijuana. Is not exactly the profile that girls want to fuck.
Yes, yeah, but I think most main thing is like really self-confidence. And now you sound like you have no problems with this, and this is what attracts like success and self-confidence. And even sometimes when I've seen many cases when there is like no success and there is like no even attempt to like show success, but there is a huge self-confidence, it can work too. And what's interesting that you have this approach, not like most of the people say, like, yeah, you need to find like one, you have like portfolio-based approach. So you speak about it directly that you stand for the polygamy, so women in plural. But what's your, like, if it's okay to ask, investment portfolio? And of course it's investment first of all in time, because like money is like not a problem. And but what's like, let's say if you have like 3 women in the portfolio, do you spend the time like 30-30-30, or is it like some will get like 10% of time and another maybe 60? It's interesting to listen a little bit on this.
Yeah. So I have 2 girlfriends right now. I used to have 3, but well, actually I have had 2 girlfriends, and sometimes I had 3. But so I have one girlfriend where I have 2 children with, and then I used to have another girlfriend where I had 1 child with, but we broke up And so now I'm alone with that child, but I found a new girlfriend to be with me and that child half of the time. And so I again have 2 girlfriends, but I would like to have 3. And so I split my time equally, but it's something that's being built up. But right now I'm spending like I just changed, because before I would spend 4 days with Tabby, and we have 2 children together, and then I would spend 3 days with my new girlfriend and my son, Mikey. But now that just has changed, and instead of 4 days with Tabby, I spend 3 days with her, and then I have 1 day also that I spent alone with my son Mikey, because my other girlfriend was frustrated that she's always spending time with me together with my son, and she doesn't get any time alone with me. And so she wanted also a day alone with me. And so now it's like I'm spending 1 day alone with my son also. And that gives me the opportunity to find a 3rd girlfriend also, because I love my children, but it's even better when I have a good girl with me to do the hard work of changing diapers, feeding, playing. And so likely I will find a 3rd girlfriend now for that day that I'm alone with my son. But in general, I think that women, the value of women is to bear children, at least for me, because I want children. And so that's also how I reward them, and how I decide how much time they deserve from me, and how much money and financial support deserve from me, based on, do they want to give me children, and how many, and how good of a job do they do with my children, of raising them as a loving, caring mother. And so, yeah, that's how I look at that. But indeed, I really like also, as an investor, when you become good at something, you start to apply this thinking to other fields also. And I like to apply this also indeed to relationships. And I've learned a lot from it that way, because my problem in the past, when I was 20, 30, what would happen very often is, yeah, I like a girl in the start, she's amazing, but then she starts to like test you and do all kind of shit that's not acceptable, treating you poorly, not giving you sex, or spending too much money, or not doing the house chores, letting you do the cooking and cleaning, and like just being like children can also try to basically make you their little bitch, and make you like work for them instead of them working for you while you pay all the bills. In the past, when I didn't have confidence, that I would allow that to happen, not speak up, not be assertive, and then it would build up into an angry explosion, or me just losing interest, or the girl often actually losing interest after treating me poorly. She would also lose interest in me. So that's now very different with me, where I have high demands for my girlfriends. I have a lot of things that I want them to do well, and if they don't do that, I speak up about it. And in the end, the door is what will happen if they don't perform. For me, love is not anymore some kind of romanticized ideology. No, it's in the. I compare it with running a company. Like the best employees are hardworking employees that actually know already in advance, before you ask them to do something, they know what they need to do to make you happy. And those are like employees that are really make you happy, and you promote them, and you make them rich too. But not an employee that irritates you often, that you ask them to do something and they do it only half, or they make up excuses why they can't do it. Or they are dishonest sometimes. Like that's not a good employee, and it's just exactly the same in a relationship. And yeah, that's very helpful to realize that, and it works, and it is a strong fight, because you really have to be sure about this, because they will really try to not do that, to not perform well, and to exploit you in the relationship. They will really try that, and they will only accept not to do that and to become a good girl, basically. If they know it's for real, if they know like they will be kicked out and it will be changed for another if they don't do it. Like that's my experience.
Yeah, so there is also a market and competition in this field, and interesting because you are rich and good looking, and you are now, well, it's like open information, and the girls are also sometimes watching videos like this, and they watch Twitters. Do you often get like messages from them? And because you kind of have a vacant place, or at least like part-time, so do they message you and ask, hey, let's to meet, let's to go for coffee, like recent
Yes, I do get sometimes from people that watch my work, but most that watch my work on YouTube and Noise and Twitter are men. But that's now changing with Read.Cash and Noise.Cash. There are many women from the Philippines and poorer countries. But I get sometimes messages, but it's actually not that much. But also, like, even when I get them, like, there's not that much, but it's also not that interesting because I like thin women, and like most of them are not thin. Huh? And I'm very, very difficult, actually, the kind of girl I like. Like when I go hunting, I stand in the mall or in the city center, and many girls need to pass before I say like that's a sexy girl for me. Huh? I want them to be young, also like 25, maybe, but 30 certainly not. And I can see that in the face and in the body. You can see the age. I'm really attracted to 20, 18-year-old, and thin also, and also beautiful in the face, and also good spirited. Like it's not just enough to be beautiful. Like the moment I talk with her, I want her to feel serious and polite, and not rude or like that's also very important. So I'm very, very actually difficult and in what I want and select very, very strongly. And so the chance is just very, very low. Actually, I've never had a high quality girl like that contact me. That doesn't happen. Huh? These girls get constantly contacted by men and stopped everywhere. Huh? So they are used to actually, they don't reach out, these girls. Huh? They select all the time. Huh? And so you have to be one of those guys that approach them, but you have to do it in a very original and strong way so that you stand out. And the way I do that is by approaching them in the street, face to face. And be direct. Like when I see a girl like that, I stop her and I say, hey, do you have a moment? Or hey, can I ask you something? Hey, you look very beautiful. Do you have a boyfriend? And that immediately, like, that doesn't happen much to a girl in the West, not in Europe, not and also not here in Africa. So you immediately stand out, and then you don't have to be the best. I'm not the best looking guy from all the offers you get, not even close. I'm just average looking for her, but because I show lots of confidence, she might give me a chance. Yeah.
But did you try to ask like something? Hey, have you heard about Bitcoin? Do you have it? I can send it to you. I think it would be a creative way, and just to send maybe $1 to test.
No, I don't think that would be successful because it shows you're doing an indirect approach. Many guys do that. They start talking about some subject instead of like talking about what they want. They want to take her out on a date. They want, like, that's what they want. So starting to talk about something else unrelated, like cryptocurrency, is, I think, a very bad idea. You can just try that also. You will probably notice that quickly. What you could do is indirectly talk about, hey, I like your shoes. Instead of asking, you have a boyfriend, you want to go out on dates, you can say, like, give a compliment, a fun compliment, or you can try the approach like, actually look perfect except for your shoes. That does need a little bit more work. Like, you could also tease her a little bit, but like I don't think you would be successful with talking about cryptocurrency. I actually don't talk also about myself when I date. I'm interested in her. And when she asks questions about myself, I will evade. I will give a short answer and change topic to her again, because I don't want her to know that I'm rich, because that would change. Of course, she knows I'm well off because I'm a white guy in Africa. Every white guy is considered well off here. You need to look actually as a prosperous man. You don't need to look like a poor guy. You're not going to have much success. You need to look like well off. But they shouldn't know that you're rich. I think that's not a good idea, because then it may like influence her too much also. Yeah.
Great, thanks for sharing these tips. And the interview is running for more than 1 hour. I think we can end it soon, and I hope that maybe in several months we can also speak that the market changes. There are like new projects coming, and this is very dynamic area. So I would be happy if you find time somewhere like in several months to discuss the investment and the developments of the sites where we are both active, ReadCash, NoiseCash.
Yeah, very happy to, Andrii, and I think it will be crazy market over the next half year. So happy to do it faster also. And also I want to ask you, like, how does your, if you are able to share that, portfolio look like today? Like, how much % you have invested in which project? Are you able to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. But as entrepreneur, as I consider myself, because a YouTube channel and crypto media is only one of the things which I'm focused in, and it's not generating any income. Well, apart from maybe something $100 a month from all the crypto blogs, some small amounts. So as an entrepreneur, I had like ups and downs, and last year it was like some down, and I did also because some of the expenses, and my car broke accidentally, and I got another one. So, and the clients for marketing and consulting, they were like almost no. So at some months they were like almost no income. Now it's changed, and now like I'm working with several projects, and so I got even the loan in crypto, like from a friend, but I took it like in Ethereum, so I need to give it back in Ethereum. But I plan to settle it like soon. Yeah, I know, because like as a crypto enthusiast, I knew that crypto will be rising, but I didn't know like which exact moment, and I was sure that I returned till that moment. Also because some of my income is in crypto, so that's also, I was not afraid of this rise. But my attempt, so like at the moment I don't have like almost no portfolio, like some small amounts. But my approach is that like Nassim Taleb speaks, skin in the game. So I work with some projects, and some projects which I know more, where I took part in the governance. That's actually my approach, that I think those projects would be successful which have good community, good people, and also governance and treasury system. Actually, Bitcoin Cash, it has like a great and active community. It doesn't have like decentralized treasury, but these things which you are actually doing and other people are doing, they are providing the funds for the developers and entrepreneurs, like those sites ReadCash. So this, from the investor point of view, I would be happy to support, and Bitcoin Cash would be definitely in my portfolio, and it would be in bigger percentage than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is now expensive and Bitcoin Cash is cheaper now, and also because I earned some Bitcoin Cash on ReadCash, so that would be reasonable to keep that amount. But also Cardano, where I took part in the governance project Catalyst. Recently, with my colleague Boone Bergsma, we won a project there. It's educational project with a good budget, and we are planning with our blockchain ventures company to apply to and start building in other blockchains as well. And it's also it's Telos, EOS, IO, blockchain. I did some marketing for them, and I'm interested in this because they have this free transactions, and I think it may be also, it's cheap now, like 11 cents. And also I like Algorand because it's pure proof of stake, and Silvio Micali is like very smart cryptographer, and privacy coins like Monero. So and maybe also Zilliqa, they are also doing like some governance system now. Yeah, I think
I think that the way to build wealth, if you don't have any capital yet in the cryptocurrency world, is indeed becoming actively involved in cryptocurrency projects and get paid by these projects in crypto, and keep that crypto then, or exchange it for better cryptos. But that's the way to do it. And indeed, many coins have a governance system where actually a piece of the inflation or a piece of the supply of the coin gets used to pay people that add value to the project. But I would like to make the case to focus more on Bitcoin Cash, because Bitcoin Cash doesn't have a piece of the inflation going to projects. But that's actually a very positive thing, because the problem with all these projects up until today, where a piece of the coin supply goes to pay for projects, is that it's not considered to be a sound currency. And very often you get misallocation of capital. Like many of these coins go to people that don't create value, and because it's so easy to give them away, because you create a coin out of thin air. It's like creating a company out of thin air, and then you have lots of shares to give away. And in the cryptocurrency world, because all these currencies pump in value, everybody's making money, and it's easy to give away a piece of that supply to people that create value. But because everybody is making money, there's no real discipline on a good discipline on who gets those coins. And so a lot of the coins end up in the hands of people that don't create that much value. But people think they do a good job because the coin goes up in value, but it only goes up in value because we're in a crypto bull market, and because you have an inflow of capital into the cryptocurrency industry from other markets, such as stock market, bond market, gold market, real estate market. That money is flowing in currency markets. That's pumping the value, but there is no good fundamentals. And what you see to many of those coins is, once the bear market is there, they collapse through the floor. And what do you have in the end? You worked a lot. You got some of those coins. You were rich, but you hodled it all, and you pour again a couple years later. So I think that over time you will see a big difference in valuations of currencies based on not hype but actual real adoption. Just like we saw in the .com bubble, like all projects pumped in the 90s, all internet websites, even like just a name, just an idea would pump into a very high valuation. Everybody made money. But after that, like many lost a lot, and only a few smaller companies actually became very big. And it's all about, are you able to capture the market with your product or not? And very few will actually succeed in that. And I think that one of the I used to actually really believe that a governance model and a piece of the inflation going to pay for projects makes most sense. I used to think that, and I was investing in such projects. But I've changed my mind from that because it's not necessary. Because Bitcoin investors know that they have to invest in projects to create value for Bitcoin. And so they will do it voluntarily with their own money. And when you do it with your own money, you do a much better selection in who do you give your money to. And that's what we're seeing in Bitcoin Cash today. Like, yes, you can do your own projects just like all the other coins. Like, you can actually do Flipstart now, where you can raise money for projects like what you're doing, marketing, for example, a coin. You can raise money, but the people that pay the money, it all comes from their own pockets. And so it's much better selected. But also, like, when you earn that money and you keep it, when you keep Bitcoin Cash, I think you have a very good chance to, in the long run, sort of capital appreciation with that coin just by holding it, but just by saving it. and it's much less certain that you will achieve that with other coins. So I think that if you focus on building value for Bitcoin Cash, I will certainly reward you for this interview, and keep an eye more on your work on Read.Cash and on Noise.Cash. But I would recommend do a flip starter also in Bitcoin Cash. Think of how you can create value for Bitcoin Cash. Do a flip starter and raise big budgets for the projects that you want to do, because that's like, I'm looking for that. Like, I'm looking for flip starts. They're so little. Like, I want to invest in people that create value for Bitcoin Cash, but you have to realize that yeah, you get paid in hard currency here. Nobody can print more of it and give it away to their favorite projects, to their favorite friends. No, and that's not the case with many other projects. Actually, you're not sure how much they will issue currency and if it will be spent wisely. With Bitcoin Cash, you're sure of that. Nobody can print more of it, and nobody can spend it unwisely and destroy the project.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting point which you raised, because I even think that maybe this is something which I need to study more, because in cases when there is like a donation, like personal donation, well, for example, I'm not sure that your money they are used wisely also. It's hard to say, because yeah, some of it's really hard to compare, because let's say this typical Bitcoin Cash giveaway. I've been 2 times. I met Bitcoin Cash teams. One in 2018 in Dubai. They were giving out. They had a huge booth there, and were giving out Bitcoin Cash, $5, I think. But I was late to receive it. And second time in 2019 in Singapore, where Roger Ver was speaking, and everyone had, under the chair, they had QR code, like paper wallet, which they could scan. And I also failed to do it because the QR code, I used like some coin, it just was damaged, so I couldn't. And of course, maybe I could run in the break into another like chairs and took somebody else, but I didn't do it. So like such giveaways, are they effective or not? Whose money are going there? Was it like Bitcoin.com money, or like Roger Ver's personal, or maybe like other supporters? Also, sometimes like in governance blockchains, sometimes money are coming like not from the blockchain, but from the foundation, which already had the allocation of the funds, which were either during token sale or other. It's really interesting topics, and I'm studying it, and I plan to maybe write some big material on it. And I think actually like both models can work.
Indeed. It's all about how if it's managed well or not. Both models can work. I agree with that. But there is also the legal risk. Like if there's a clampdown on crypto quickly, they will take first to attack the ones that have a centralized management, a foundation, are much easier to attack than a cryptocurrency that's more decentralized. You also have to take that into account. I had another question, and that is, how is the corona situation in Ukraine? Do you have to wear masks there? Do you have to, are there lockdowns or curfews there, or is it quite relaxed?
Here, I think Ukraine is quite a free and libertarian country, so we have more like everything like relaxed. It's usually people wear mask when they go to the shop or go to the public transport. And currently in Kiev we have the lockdown for 2 weeks. So like in 1 week it will be ended. Before that, the restaurants and everything like worked, shopping malls. But now they did it just to, because the number of like new infected people was like high, to do it like lighter on this medical system. But in general, like there is like I've heard about like Europe and some countries where it's like more strict, that it's more relaxed here. People travel, they walk the streets, so police is not like controlling. Well, some places, some businesses, they kind of even work in this time, but mostly why now it's not so feeling, because it's already spring and it's not so cold on the streets, so you can come to the cafe or restaurant and do a takeaway, so you won't sit inside. And some terraces work, so you can sit on the summer terrace. So the situation is more relaxed. Of course, it's still a problem with the traveling and big events. We are going to have like Black conference soon. It's a really biggest conference, not only in Ukraine, but probably in the Eastern Europe. And it was moved till the end of April. And now we'll see how the situation will be there. So like smaller events happen, like big events do not happen. But in a week from the time when we are speaking, everything could be like even more relaxed. And what about Africa? What about the country where you live?
Yeah, Kenya is not good. So they did another lockdown here. Curfew was at 10 and now they put it earlier at 8, which is ridiculous. There's forced mask wearing. So it's very annoying. It's not a fun place to be, sadly. They really are destroying they have destroyed the tourist industry and they keep on destroying it. It's a real pity. Yeah, so that's very, very interesting. And so you also have 2 children, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Huh?
Yeah, great. And I also hope to see you maybe someday in Ukraine after the COVID times. We are going to have like, we have actually like a big crypto community here. And why I'm inviting like everyone whom I meet like abroad in person, because I think for somebody who is working in the crypto area, Ukraine is like one of the best countries to live, because if you have like income in crypto, if you are either working remotely, everything is cheaper here. Maybe in the capital, like not everything is so cheap, but even let's say like supercars, they are cheaper than in Europe, because there are like no additional taxes for them, and there is like kind of supply which existing. Yeah, and that's
kidnapping risk, because that used to be bad, no?
No, I don't think it's more or less safe. There was like actually like some case that some worker or CEO of exchange was like, there was some case, but it's like complicated stories. Probably like it was like people like who knew him. Maybe he took money from them, but I really don't know. But it was like not something which just happened because he is kind of rich. Because Kiev as the capital, it has like also this the high concentration of like really expensive cars. We have like a lot of sorry, maybe something with connection. Yeah, I think connection is fine from my side, but let's wait for a while if Mark appears again, or otherwise we are speaking for an hour and a half. So actually probably yes, something broken, but now it's fine. Yes.
Okay, so good. So yeah, very interesting. Thanks so much. It was a pleasure talking.
Yeah, it was great to speak with you. So good luck with your investments, and see you on Read.Cash and Noise.Cash.
Yeah, and very interesting to hear Ukraine is safe. So the moment like they relax these corona bullshit things, let me know. I'm happy to come. But okay, corona test I'm willing to do. but not wear masks. And I want to go to a country where the restaurants are open, where you can sit and eat something like so. So the moment they like do that away, let me know, and I would be happy to visit.
Yeah, for example, a week ago I went to travel to the west of Ukraine, to the lakes. There was like really not many people, because people go there mostly in summer, and Carpathian Mountains. And even when there is like in Kiev capital, it's like kind of 2-week lockdown, it's possible to go like some other city or to the nature, and most of the things are working there.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in that. Like I know I want to spend my money with in countries that deserve my money, and those are countries that don't have Corona lockdown bullshit mask wearing. So that's why I'm only interested to visit Ukraine when the government it gets sane again. Huh? I'm not gonna hide in nature. I can do that everywhere. I can also hide in nature here and not wear a mask. But that's not where I want to spend my money.
Yeah, here I mean that you wear a mask at all, in most cases it will be fine. Well, it depends, like also like from the people. For some people, if you see, well, if you're sitting in the restaurant without mask, that's obviously like normal. It's good. If you go to some crowded shop, there some of the people maybe would not like it, but it also depends. Like it can happen in all the countries. So there is like no kind of like government control on this, and everything is more or less free.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Okay, well, pleasure meeting, Andrii, and I hope we talk again soon.
Great, thanks, and thanks everyone who is watching. I'm advising you to join Read.Cash, Noise.Cash. I'm putting the links here. Okay, thanks.